Big Blue Nation is here early and in full force for one of the most anticipated matchups of the year. And they are loud here inside historic Memorial Coliseum, where 16th ranked Kentucky looks to add another line to their already postseason ready resume. To do so, they'll have to go through the SEC champs, South Carolina, who've been rolling and enter on a 9-game winning streak. It's a senior day matinee to conclude the SEC regular season, and a look at the SEC regular standings, where the race for the coveted double bye being led right now by South Carolina and Vanderbilt. Plenty of intrigue on the league's final day. And we say welcome to March here in Lexington alongside Christy Thomas. I'm Noah Frary. And for the South Carolina Gamecocks, they'll be the #1 seed in Greenville. They're a presumptive #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. But Christy, for Kentucky, a different story. Why is today so critical?
Well, Kentucky's looking to play their way into that bye into next week's SEC tournament, and also host here for the NCAA first 2 rounds. Now, for South Carolina, they've got that seeding in hand, and really what you want today is to not have a letdown. We've got some big players on both sides. They're going to see, too, that that doesn't happen.
Yes, we do. Plenty of stars in this game. And for South Carolina, it starts and ends with a National Player of the Year candidate in Joyce Edwards.
Big players just continue to do big things, and this young lady can do it all. She's got all the tools, size, speed, athleticism, but also very much a student of the game. She works hard, but she also works smart and just continues to elevate her play for the Gamecocks.
Now, if you're not familiar with Clara Strack, allow me to introduce you to one of the best centers in the women's game.
Well, and where have you been, right? Because Clara Strack is absolutely what this team needs in order to be able to get a win today. As she goes, so goes this Kentucky team, and that's a load that she's willing to carry. She does it on both ends of the floor for Kentucky and creates some real matchup problems.
And we're almost set for tip. It's a sold-out historic Memorial Coliseum. It's South Carolina and Kentucky in the final game of the SEC regular season, and we're ready to go here in Lexington. And it will be the Gamecocks who win the opening tip. Billy Smith, Maggie Tiemann, and Timothy Green are officials. And South Carolina comes into this game the SEC regular season champions, and they're on the board early as Medina Okot has her first basket. For Kentucky, an up-and-down year. They've dealt with injuries, but their starting lineup, led by Tony Morgan, recently set the program's single-season assist record. Early pressure there, nearly throws it away. He works into the paint, has it stripped. Here comes Joyce Edwards, averaging over 20 points per game in recent play. South Carolina team that's won 9 in a row. Latson kicking it out. Okot looking for 3. Too strong, in the rebound to Tiani Key. Kentucky with a pair of top 5 wins this year over LSU and Oklahoma, but they'd love to get another one here today as Key has her first basket on senior day.
That's exactly what you'd like to see, as your seniors really get untracked here, have a good day. And South Carolina just going inside early to Okot. She's been sensational for South Carolina.
A lot of new faces, some familiar. The Johnsons, Raven and Tessa. But Tanaya Latson has been a huge piece. So is Okot, and she's got 4 here in the early stages. Comes in averaging over 15 and 14 rebounds over her last 6 games. She's been red hot and playing some of her best basketball, according to Dawn Staley.
6'6", great size. Really showing that she's got some real ability that is going to make some noise, continue to make some noise in the SEC.
Key banging in the post, rises up. It toilet bowls in and out. Tessa Johnson has been the most efficient scorer for South Carolina this year. And she'll turn it over here. South Carolina 28-2. 5th straight year that they've won the SEC regular season championship. They'll be the #1 seed in Greenville. They're led by Dawn Staley. She has 3 national championships to her name and could very easily add another one this season.
Oh, this team is peaking at the right time. They're playing their best basketball. All the things you want in the postseason as you get ready for postseason are happening for South Carolina.
Clara Strack on the board for Kentucky. She's been one of the most well-rounded centers in the country this season.
Such great touch for Clara outside the paint.
Turned over, here come the Wildcats. Morgan trying to find Boone. Good closeout by Tanaya Latson, the Florida State transfer. Key looking inside. Strack working on Okot and gets it to go. The high-low game to perfection for the Cats.
Well, and that shows you just how physical post play is in the SEC. Okot and Strack getting after it. No foul called, but playing through the contact. That's what you come to know when you've played in this league for a while, is that physicality is always going to be there.
We knew there was going to be a war inside that blue paint in this game. Here's Latson, wild shot, and the rebound to Hassett, nearly thrown away, but Kentucky fortunate to hang on. Turnovers have been an issue in big games for them this year. Morgan, too strong.
A little hesitation there for Toni Morgan as she was looking to distribute.
And Raven Johnson will cash in on the game's first three. One of the OGs for this team. One of the most winning players in Gamecocks history as a senior. A very good defender matched up on Toni Morgan, who locates Key. This is her first J of the day. Expected a fast-paced game between these two. Step back three on the way for Johnson. And again, Hassett has the rebound. She's been active on the glass early.
And just so quick, coming off that screen, knowing exactly where she wants the ball, wants to pull the trigger. So tough to defend.
Fed inside, Keed had that one deflected. It'll stay with Kentucky. The Wildcats coached by Kenny Brooks in his second season at the helm. They've been fantastic here at home, north of an 80% winning percentage. 8 ranked wins. Can they make it 9? A win today could catapult Kentucky up into that hosting spot that they were left out of in the release earlier today. They hosted a year ago in the first year of the Kenny Brooks era. Here's Strack just wide open. Couldn't make South Carolina pay, but a no board comes. Strack spinning, Edwards denied it.
Really athletic play by Edwards to not only block the shot, but then keep it in bounds, get it to a teammate. But this is what that young lady does on both ends of the floor, so dangerous.
First look at Agat McKeer, and she'll walk. Number 6 prospect in the class of 2025. There's one thing Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks have been known for over the years. Plenty of McDonald's All-Americans. McKeer, the latest in a long line. Hassett trying to settle in, looking for the first three, and he'll deliver it. She's been shooting 50% from downtown in her last 2.
Just been such a reliable three-point shooter the second half of the season for Kentucky.
Here open, good closeout from Boone. She'll rise up. Offensive rebound. And the Kentucky students wanted a walk called there. Dowda will lose it out of bounds. And a frenetic start to this top 20 matchup. It's Kentucky by 2 at the midway point here at quarter 1. In the SEC, they've won 3 consecutive titles, and their bid for a 4th straight beginning on Friday in the quarterfinals in Greenville. But a ton of intrigue behind them. The coveted double buys right now, LSU, Vanderbilt, and Texas in the driver's seat. Kentucky could go to a 9 seed. They could jump as high as a 6, Christie. A lot could happen here on the final day of the SEC regular season.
A lot could happen. You need other teams to win, lose. You need to win. There are so many things that come into play here, but make no mistake, Noah, this is unlike any other tournament. And these coaches will all tell you, this is an incredibly difficult thing. When you look at this, anybody that's playing on that first round on Wednesday, that means you're playing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is a 5-day tournament for you to try to get to that championship game. So when we talk about those double buys, that's why they're important, because now you're winning 3 games in 3 days. A bye means one game that you don't have to play, 4 games in 4 days. Either way you go, this is not a normal environment for these teams. They don't play every single day. And when you consider how physical and what a grind this SEC is, that is a tough, tough tournament. Whoever comes out of there as champion of the SEC has really done something.
They call it the most difficult league to play in women's college basketball, and right now, South Carolina having some challenges taking care of the basketball. 5 turnovers through the game's first 4 minutes. A little bit surprising on Dawn Staley's side.
You know, they play on that Thursday, Sunday cadence throughout the season for the most part, pop in a Monday here and there. But that's what's so tough about this is that recovery. You need every bit of that to get ready for your next game, and you don't get that luxury in the SEC tournament. Deep
in the shot clock for Morgan. Obi went to the deck. South Carolina will take it the other way. Trailing here early, this is Tanaya Latson, NCAA's leading scorer a season ago at Florida State. Edwards misses the bunny. Long rebound goes to Asia Boone, and those are the type of hustle plays, Christy, that Kentucky's going to have to win consistently in this game.
For the entire game. This isn't the kind of thing where you can play well in streaks and that you can have droughts, scoring droughts. You've got to go hard the entire time, but I like what I saw South Carolina doing there with Edwards. That's a matchup issue there with Toni Morgan. She wins there, so that ball didn't go for her, but that's a great matchup, and I like what they're doing.
Edwards working coast to coast. Boone will pick up the foul, and that'll put Joyce Edwards at the free throw line, a National Player of the Year candidate as a sophomore.
She's a matchup problem with her size, but she's got great speed as she works her way down. Really no choice there if you're Asia Boone. You've got to foul, and you got to make sure that she doesn't get the and one.
So Joyce Edwards steps to the free throw line, north of 70% on the year. She has scored 20-plus points in 3 consecutive games, entering today's game at 23 in the 112-71 victory over Missouri earlier this week. Trying to become just the 2nd player under Dawn Staley to average over 20 points per game. You've probably heard of the other one, Asia Wilson, one of the best players in the world.
It's incredible company there if you're Joyce Edwards. A real testament to what her ability is here.
Key was being hounded. Now Obi drives. Couldn't finish off the glass, and the rebound goes to Okot, who's already been a force to be reckoned with 5 rebounds here early. Edwards was running the floor. Off the glass it goes.
Lost a shoe.
Strack picks up her first.
Well, that's South Carolina making Kentucky pay for not finishing on the other end, getting the ball up the floor quickly. Edwards running. 4 white jerseys there, nothing they can do.
This is a South Carolina team, one of the fastest in the country. They love to get out in transition, and they've been one of the best at converting when given those opportunities. Unable to convert the free throw. A tight 1-point game here with under 3 to go in the first. Morgan off the glass for her first basket. Scored double digits in 14 of 16 SEC contests. Johnson just wide open in the easy finish.
Just using her teammates. A pseudo screen that you saw set there, just so heads up. We talked about the physicality in the post in the SEC, but you saw it right there from the guard perspective. If Toni Morgan gets knocked down, says, hey, wait a minute, where's the foul? But that's just it. You got to play through the contact. Sometimes you get the call, sometimes you don't. You keep playing.
Morgan gets the call that time, and we'll have a trip to the free throw line coming.
She takes it into traffic there. She's got the physicality and the strength to be able to get it in there like that. We've seen that confidence in what she's able to do at the rim grow.
Toni Morgan, one of 5 SEC point guards on the Nancy Lieberman Point Guard of the Year Top 10 mid-season watch list. Raven Johnson for South Carolina, another. Transferred over from Georgia Tech in the offseason. Had some big shoes to fill. Georgia Amor, who's actually in the building for this game tonight.
It's so great to see her back. She looks great, getting healthy.
She was the number 6 pick in the WNBA draft last offseason. Here's Okot. She's going to be a high pick if she continues to knock down threes like that. It's become a bigger part of her game lately.
When you're 6'6" and can step out and shoot like that, so dangerous.
Here's Kentucky's unicorn, Clara Strack with the finish over Edwards.
A beautiful shot we've come to know from Clara Strack, so well defended. I thought Edwards got a hand on it.
A tight 2-point game late in quarter number 1 here in Lexington. There's Okot and Strack matched up. Latson trying to get downhill, spins into some open real estate and converts.
Just some real patience for Latson to not force it up at the first opening.
Kentucky called for the over and back. Kenny Brooks screaming that there was a touch. It doesn't appear that he's going to get one. Tony Morgan adamant that she did not tip that into the backcourt, but the call will go the Gamecocks' way.
I think I might agree with him, based on what I saw right in front of us.
Alicia Tornabes checking in for the first time for South Carolina. Joined this program at the midway mark of the season from France. Highly touted international prospect that's thrown down a dunk in live action. And a foul called. It'll be on Jordan Obi. It's her first.
That's Jordan Obi trying to decide how to work over or under those screens. Got a little too physical there. But that's what South Carolina will do to you. They can absolutely shoot. Got to make some quick decisions, just like that. If you don't make that decision quickly, you're going to try to go under that screen. They're going to make you pay. Read the defense.
The Gamecocks started the game 3 for 8 from the field. They've hit their last 5. The lead is 6 with under a minute to go in the first. There's Key matched up on the freshman Tornabes. Pulls over the 6'7" defender. Strack creates another try. Swung for Boone, couldn't get the 3 off. Pulls the long 2, it was deflected. Obi with another offensive rebound and a third try for Kentucky. Can they convert? Key, fouled. That'll go on Okot.
Well, a little frenetic at that point, but that goes to show you just at what a high level both of these teams have to play. You have to be locked in at all times in that situation, but a credit to Jordan Obi for hustling there. Getting a couple of offensive rebounds.
Okot gonna check out of this game as Miriam Dowda comes in. Shot clock off. Kentucky can take the final shot of this opening quarter. If they can get it in bounds, they just do. Boone works to the basketball. Tony Morgan, the point guard, off the floor. Trying to get free. Goes to Strack, pulls over McDaniel, and airballs the long 2. And it is the South Carolina Gamecocks who will lead by 6 after 1 here in Lexington. A top 20 matchup living up to the billing early. Kenny Brooks got off to a fast start, a couple of top 5 wins early on the road at LSU, and then here in historic Memorial Coliseum against Oklahoma. But then one of their leaders, Tiani Key, going down. They lose 4 of their next 6. And then a couple of tough losses to top 10 Vanderbilt. Once they were ranked 7th, the other 5th. They lose those games by a combined 3 points. And their resume right now has them on the outside looking in of a host opportunity. The rankings revealed earlier on ESPN had them outside that coveted top 16. Things can change, and they could change in a big way today if they're able to take down third-ranked South Carolina. But the net says they're a host team. The quad record probably could have been a little bit better.
Well, everything that you said leading up to that really just goes to show you that Kenny Brooks says, we've been successful against top 5 teams. It proves we are one of those teams. We belong. We should be here with those teams. So I think that Tiani Key, that injury and her absence really affected this team in a way that I think I probably underestimated in a lot of ways, because Clara Strack really took on so much more. She takes a lot on her shoulders anyway, but the absence of Tiani Key really created more of that for Clara Strack. So having her back then has created so much more balance for this team from an offensive and defensive load. Really, really crucial for her to be back in this lineup for Kentucky.
It felt like Kentucky was just starting to figure things out That thrilling buzzer beater by Tony Morgan to take down LSU in Baton Rouge, and then Key goes out. They had to reinvent themselves and then do it again. Here's Edwards, had that blocked by Carroll, and now a foul, and will that be number 2 on Clara Strack? It is. A Kentucky team not nearly as deep as South Carolina, and now their leader with 2 personals.
Well, that's exactly what South Carolina would want. They're trying to work inside. Edwards working hard on the offensive glass to be able to put Clara Strack on the bench with 2 fouls. Exactly what South Carolina wants.
Strack averaging over 19 points per game over her last 7, and now Kentucky will be without her for a majority of this second quarter. Edwards hit the first. The lead now 8, the largest it has been for the Gamecocks. 28-2 so far. They've won 21 out of their last 22 games. They are on a roll as they eye a chance to repeat in Greenville and perhaps get back to the Final Four and cut down the nets.
There's the mismatch you want. If Tiani Key had a nice mismatch inside, couldn't get her the ball.
McDaniel spinning. Hornby's knocked that one out of bounds. No, they'll say it was off of Kentucky. Kentucky not choosing to appeal. And now the officials actually came together and changed that call. It was Billy Smith and Timothy Green who came together to discuss. And from that angle appears to be the right decision. So Kentucky will have the basketball here, led by 2 with just over 5 minutes to go in that first quarter. But since then, it's been all Gamecocks, an 11-2 run. That will end right there as Morgan has her second basket of the afternoon.
Tony Morgan's been successful getting herself to the rim. Hasn't gotten a couple of calls, but can play through the physicality.
Latson was just rejected by Hassett. Kentucky number 2 in the country in block shots per game, and Hassett just had a huge one.
That's what Kentucky needs, is more of that in the paint. South Carolina really an efficient team in the paint.
To stay close to Tessa Johnson from downtown. That's a long 2. Ocott off to a great start to the afternoon. 9 points, 6 rebounds. Playing a 20th double-double on the season.
Just changes things for South Carolina's offense when your big can step out and shoot like that.
And an offensive foul. That's going to go against Tony Morgan. Second foul on the Wildcats here in this second quarter. 8-point South Carolina lead. Tessa Johnson, the top 3-point shooter in the league this year in terms of percentage, dumps it off. Ocott, look at her just grab that over Obi. Kick out, Johnson wants the 3, she'll can it.
You saw all the white jerseys just collapse down on Ocott. Great job by Ocott to just turn and get it out, kick it out. Carroll couldn't close out fast enough.
She is a dead red shooter, speaking of Tessa Johnson. Kentucky with just 1 3 so far. That was Amelia Hassett, 32 in white. Morgan navigating. Key banging in the post. The left hand won't go, and Ocott may find her way to a first half double-double. She's been incredible. Johnson gives it away. Physical game early between these top programs. The freshman Carroll open in the corner. Hassett had her hand on it, but it's Maddie McDaniel pushing. He loses the basketball. And at least early, that has been an Achilles heel for South Carolina. 7 turnovers in this first half.
That's the kick out there by Ocott as everybody collapsed down around her to try to defend. Just couldn't close out fast enough. South Carolina makes them pay, but listen, Noah, you said a few minutes ago, this game is not for the weak or the faint of heart. I mean, you better come and you better bring it. Clara Strack checking back in with 2 fouls. Really, Kentucky needing something offensively.
SEC considered the most physical league in women's college basketball. Many have likened it to a mini WNBA. And Strack called for the travel. And much like South Carolina, Kentucky dealing with early turnover troubles with 6. And Christy, that has been an area that this Kentucky team has struggled in against some of these upper echelon opponents.
Well, then you've seen lulls for Kentucky in their offense where they just haven't been able to score. We saw them come out really efficient on offense early and then go through these scoring droughts. They're in one now. I mean, this is something that you cannot afford to have happen, especially against teams like South Carolina that just continue to pour it on.
Johnson looking for another tray. Obi has it. Kentucky led by 2 early in this game. They trail by double figures here at the current moment. Hassett trying to change that. Battle for the basketball. Key keeps it in play. What a great hustle play. And now into Obi, can't convert.
Oh, that's 2 for Obi that'll just absolutely eat away at you.
Scoring drought now close to 3 minutes. Kentucky worked on this exact play in shoot-around earlier today. Hassett defends it well, and Edwards has another turnover. 3 turnovers here in the first half for Joyce Edwards. An incredible freshman year, was a first-team All-SECer. Has been even better here as a sophomore, clearly in the conversation for National Player of the Year.
No question, just a sensational season.
Strack eyeing a 3 of her own, couldn't convert. Ocott driving on Strack. She has 2 personals. And Ocott continues her assault on the paint. 11 points, 8 rebounds here in the first half.
Well, you know, at her size, you absolutely know what she can do with her back to the basket, but she's shown that there's so much more to her game.
Morgan went to the deck hard. South Carolina with numbers. Johnson, short again. She's been a little quiet from downtown. 1 for 4, came in shooting close to 50% on the year. Obi got Johnson in the air, steps up, hits over Edwards.
That's a shot Jordan Obi really needed to get to go down when she's had 2 shots at point-blank range that didn't go. Those can be so hard on you mentally.
Into Edwards,
really
off
nice.
The glass. And carnage after the fact, and a timeout coming on the floor. South Carolina up big at the midway point of the second.
Ocott getting it done on the inside, just showing that she can muscle it. Getting it done inside and outside, but beautiful little give and go here by Edwards, showing you what.
Great post players at South Carolina, and Medina Ocott quickly joining that cabinet of excellent players inside.
Getting on the offensive glass, there you saw her with great positioning, and then just steps out, calm, cool, and collected. Beautiful looking shot from outside. 1 rebound away from a double-double. She's got 11 points, 9 rebounds, really doing it all for Kentucky or for South Carolina, and also getting it done on the defensive end. She's become a presence that has really affected a lot of different shots of a lot of different Kentucky players.
Ocott joining this South Carolina program from Mississippi State during the offseason, eyeing her 20th double-double of the year. She's had 6 straight coming into this game, and she has South Carolina up by 13 over Kentucky, who's staring down their largest deficit at home this year. This has been a place that Kentucky has thrived at, speaking about historic Memorial Coliseum. And Christy, feel like right now they're in a little bit of a danger zone.
They are, yes, there's no question. They're one of their last 7 field goals. They had an extensive scoring drought, which you absolutely cannot afford to have in any SEC game, but especially against one of the top-ranked teams in the country. We've seen Okot's size at 6'6" really start to affect Kentucky on the offensive end. They don't face teams like that all the time that have that kind of size. Typically, Kentucky is the one that's winning in the size category here. So really important for Clara Strack to get going as well, to find some ways to get involved in the offense. Now's a good time to be able to do that with Okot on the bench. Really get herself going to work here. There you see they want to go right into her immediately.
And Strack will convert.
Coming right out of that, that timeout in between quarters. It's exactly what you want to do. Get it inside, get her some confidence going.
Johnson looking for a confidence three. Couldn't land it. Offensive rebound, a tie up. And the possession arrow will keep it with South Carolina.
Immediately, the first thing Kentucky does, go right inside, that beautiful step back, that fade away, become a real signature for Clara Strack.
She's turned herself into one of the best centers in the country as a junior here. Joined Kenny Brooks from Virginia Tech when he took the job. Deep in the shot clock. Edwards denied by Key. Got her own miss. Shot clock did not reset. Latson, step back, over Strack, the bank open.
My goodness.
She averaged north of 25 points per game a year ago at Florida State, scoring down, but her overall game dramatically improved this year. She is a consensus first-round pick in the upcoming WNBA draft. Key working on Tornabees and the long arm of the law, keeping Key off the glass.
Well, they substituted size for size. Tornabees in there at 6'7". Watch this bank here. Yeah, I love that she just real cool, back down the floor like, yep, meant to do it.
These two teams came in 1 and 2 in terms of blocks per game in the SEC. Right now, South Carolina has the edge 5-2. Deep in the shot clock, Obi's got to make something happen. Pulls over Johnson. The long two won't go. Battle for the basketball. And that's an area that they've asked Alicia Tornabees to improve. Couldn't grab the offensive rebound. And now Hassett makes them pay.
But that got started with Tiani Key hustling. We've seen her do that all season long, and I think that's what they were missing the most when she wasn't able to be in there, was her hustling, getting after it on the offensive glass, really going the extra step, the extra mile, giving that extra effort.
Latson stepping into another one. Not friendly that time. And Kentucky put together a run to get back in this game as we head into half. That was blocked. He got a hand on it. Strack finds Boone.
There you go again.
Short pull, well short.
Tiani Key getting in on it with the hustle, getting it to a teammate.
Edwards locating Johnson. Now over to Raven Johnson. Her three is handled by Key. Strack and Key teaming up for that rebound.
Well, they're lucky they didn't get called for a travel there.
Or a tie-up. Under 2 to go in this first half from Lexington. Kentucky led early. South Carolina with an 11-point lead at the moment. Tornabees matched up on Tiani Key. Strack, the step over, and looking like a guard as she puts in the teardrop.
Beautiful move by Clara Strack. This is why she's in with 2 fouls. Kenny Brooks needed something to get going on the offensive end.
This capacity crowd getting into things. Trying to create another defensive stop for their beloved Wildcats. Deep in the shot clock. Latson lobbing it in for Edwards. Kentucky has defended that well both times. Wild shot for Edwards. And Kentucky has a chance to further cut into the deficit. Boone just can't find any open real estate right now. Key didn't pull the jumper.
Everybody wanted her to.
Now Boone eyeing the three. Off the mark. Another try, it'll go! Boone had been 0 for her last 8 from downtown before that one went down, and Kentucky's back within 6. Dawn Staley sensing the moment. She wants a timeout, and this crowd has been electric early.
Well, that's what you want if you're a shooter. You missed it, give it back to me again right away, and you'll knock it down. Asia Boone is an exceptional three-point shooter. South Carolina just lost her. Clara Strack with a beautiful move, trying to be able to find her way into that offense. You don't give a shooter a second opportunity without them making you pay, and Asia Boone closing the gap for Kentucky. They're on an 8-0 run over the last 2:31, but really struggling. That's something we've seen from Kentucky all season long, is they'll have those scoring droughts. A lot of it is not able to get good shots, or you miss shots, and then you turn the ball over, and then they get that right. They get that lined out. They get it straightened out, but now you're digging yourself out of a hole, but they're doing it right here with offense.
Christy, Kentucky on the big run, but South Carolina hasn't scored in over 3 minutes. What have the Wildcats been doing better defensively?
Absolutely working on communication. That's something we hear Kenny Brooks talk about all the time, is communicate. You have to know, what are we going to do with the screen? Are we going over? Are we going under? We all have to be on the same page, and especially on those defensive rotations. We have to know what we're doing and all be on the same page. I think we saw that a little disjointed in that first quarter for Kentucky.
About a 7-second difference between shot and game clock here at the end of this first half. Johnson with it in the corner. Here's McDowell up top over Hassett. Might have been deflected. Kentucky can get a final shot here of this opening half. Boone with it at midcourt. Strack stepping into it. And just strong. It'll be a 6-point South Carolina edge at the half. Kentucky putting together a big run late in the second quarter, and their defense smothering South Carolina over the last nearly 4 minutes of this opening half. A great start to this game here in Lexington. The Stars have shown up. Strack, Okot. It's a 6-point game at the half here in Lexington. It's a big game when college basketball sensation Red Panda is in the house. She thrilled here at halftime inside historic Memorial Coliseum. I don't know how you do that, Chrissy.
I don't get it. But we got to figure out how to. We want to be the ones that hand her the bowls and like toss her the bowls and do some things. But she's amazing.
Well, these
Everybody
two teams
knows.
playing a great first half.
Yeah.
Kentucky, South Carolina, Christy separated by just 6 points after what we both felt like was an incredibly physical first half.
You better leave your feelings in the locker room if you're going to play in this game, because this has been wild. It's really been incredibly physical, and not just in post play, which is what we've come to expect from the SEC, but at every single position. Everybody is giving it everything they got, all-out effort. We're seeing it in offensive rebounding. We're seeing it going after loose balls, that kind of thing. This is not a game that's for the faint of heart, but you got to be able to sustain that for another 20 minutes to be able to get a dub.
Yeah, huge second half upcoming for both sides. Medina Okot was fantastic in that first half, nearly picking up a double-double in the first half alone.
She was a huge matchup problem for Kentucky. There you see great positioning on the offensive glass to be able to go right up with it. And then how about her adding this to her game, being able to step back and shoot that really nice-looking three-point shot. She really was very effective. Went out at the 4:30 mark of the second quarter and made Kentucky's run possible. But Clara Strack doing what Clara Strack does, just working hard in the post, being able to score in a number of different ways as well, and doing it all with 2 fouls. Kentucky took a chance. Kenny Brooks took a chance and said, let's leave her in there with 2 fouls and make sure that we don't get too far behind in this game. It worked in his favor with Okot on the bench for 4.5 minutes. Clara Strack able to give you something on offense. Kentucky only behind by 6 points here and kept that from getting too far out of control.
Clara Strack had 23 when these two teams met in the final game of the regular season last year in Columbia, South Carolina. South Carolina was leading by 1 late in that game before scoring the final 10 points to take it. Okot and Strack have been excellent in this first half. Kentucky buoyed by this sold-out crowd inside historic Memorial Coliseum, getting right back in this game with an 8-0 run. Their defense stepped up at the end of that first half, and they will start with the basketball here inside a sold-out historic Memorial Coliseum for the 5th time in the Kenny Brooks era.
You get to this point in the season and these teams know everything there is to know about each other. So at this point, It's being able to do things just like that, where you can step up when you were struggling to shoot, struggling to knock down shots, and be able to find a way to get it done mentally, physically, emotionally, plugging in a way to play at such a high level that you can get the job done.
Boone hit a big three at the end of that first half, starts Kentucky off on the scorecard here in half number 2. She's just 4 points off 1,000 for her career. Goes into Strack, who picked up 1,000 earlier this season. She's denied by Okot. And Key cannot handle the basketball on the slip pass. A wasted opportunity for the Wildcats.
Clara Strack says, my bad, to Tiani Key and to Coach Brooks, and that's really because she just needed to take the shot again. Here you'll see when she gathers the ball and heads toward the basket, just stop and pop right there. She just tried to dump it off to her teammate. Unselfish. Loses it out of bounds. She says, my bad, knowing, hey, next time I gotta take that shot.
Here's Latson, turns the corner, got a step. That one was blocked out of bounds. Both teams have had strong interior presences early.
Ooh. Amelia Hassett looked at the official and said, I didn't touch it. She was right.
Edwards with the easy finish. She had 7 in that first half. Coming into today, a streak of 3 consecutive games with 20-plus points, had 23 in South Carolina's last against Mizzou.
Edwards a little quiet in that first half, only 7 points. A little quiet, had some uncharacteristic turnovers. I think we'll see her far more involved in the Gamecock offense.
Here's Morgan amongst the trees, nowhere to go. Kick out, Key, the long 2, offensive rebound, and Strack is gonna head to the free throw line.
Tiani Key with the jump shot, but watch Clara Strack, she's got position. Nothing Edwards could do, just tried to wrap an arm around her.
South Carolina has done such a great job in this game at playing defense without fouling. That was just their 3rd foul. They didn't have a single foul in the 10 minutes in the second quarter.
And to your point, it's kept Kentucky off the line. They only attempted 2 free throws in the first half. So South Carolina doing a nice job of not fouling, but Kentucky needs to do a better job of getting themselves in a position to get fouled.
A 3-point game after Strack hit both. She's got 12 on the afternoon. Kentucky led at 1 point in that first half. South Carolina led by as many as 14. A 1-possession game here early in the 3rd. Edwards hangs, it won't go. Nearly catastrophe there. Boone located the basketball late, and now they throw it away right here. Kentucky, 8 turnovers on the day. Told you in the first half, that has been an area that this Wildcats team has struggled in against good teams this year. Raven Johnson, a great find, and Okot has another 2.
Just a beautiful 2-man game. Johnson knew exactly what she wanted. Waving her teammates out, creating room for Okot.
Morgan fouled.
A 2-man game here as the teammates clear out. You take the screen and roll, and at her size, all you got to do is throw it up. Beautiful execution.
That foul called on Medina Okot, that's her 2nd. Something to keep an eye on. Strack got Okot in the air, now rises up over her. She's got 14. Kentucky continuing to stay neck and neck right now with the Gamecocks in a game that they really needed to win here today in Lexington. Down low, Edwards. And a foul coming against Kentucky. That's on Strack, it's her 3rd.
Clara Strack making adjustments on the offensive end against the size of Okot. On the defensive end, just trying to stand up straight. There you see she does, those hands come down a bit. She gets called for her 3rd.
Edwards back at the free throw line, misses the first. And for Kenny Brooks, you can probably sense this moment, this game, and that's why you keep Clara Strack out there with 3 fouls.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that she's way too valuable on both ends of the floor. Edwards really struggling from the free throw line. 3 of 7 today.
This is both there. Kentucky can tie with a 3. Edwards playing some good defense on Strack. Boone matched up on Latson. Boone shedding, Latson, step back 3! And Boone with a little stare down afterwards. This game is tied at 37.
My goodness, what a step back. And that's what you do. If you're South Carolina, that's how you answer. You go inside to Okot, there's no question. You can ride her to a lead, get some things going. Very efficient for South Carolina to answer. But man, what just Asia Boone doing a great job getting herself open on that 3-point shot.
Strack, no. Key couldn't grab it. Down low to Edwards. Kick out. Johnson was standing on the sideline. Christy, we saw at times in that first half that Kentucky struggled offensively. What's been better here lately?
Well, they're being far more aggressive. There you see Asia Boone, instead of looking to throw, was looking to score, and that's exactly what she can do so well, but that's creating. She just created some space, and the very second she had it, no hesitation. Believing in yourself as a shooter.
She came into today second in the SEC and made threes, trailing only Justine Passat, Vanderbilt sharpshooter.
We've also seen Kentucky be more organized on defense.
Strack threw it away. Okot to the rim.
She had no choice there with 3 fouls. Clara Strack didn't want to foul again, but you got to give credit to Okot in the passing lanes, which South Carolina's done so well, being able to take it the distance.
Morgan with a nice response. She's been a little bit quiet today, just 6 points now, 4 assists. 2-point game. McDaniel working baseline, kick out. Johnson with the answer.
Really nice for South Carolina, just making the extra pass.
Lead back to 5. Morgan, scoop shot. Edwards tracks it down, slips, and it will go back to Kentucky. 3 turnovers now for Joyce Edwards. Her latest will take us to a break here in the third quarter. We've got a good one brewing in Lexington. We have officially reached the month of March, and if you're a college basketball fan, it's like Christmas all over again. Earlier today, a second top 16 reveal. UConn continuing to be the #1 overall seed. South Carolina would be a 3 seed in the Fort Worth Regional, and Kentucky conspicuously left out of the top 16, Christy.
Yeah, you know, but I think this is where you just continue to play well, you continue to win ball games, and then you work on getting yourself there. They're right there. They're close. They're right on the, you know, you got Charlie Cream is talking about how it's not outside of the possibility for that to definitely happen for Kentucky, but you just have to keep winning. You have to keep playing well. You have to keep at it, and this is such a grind. You know, as we mentioned, we get to this SEC tournament, and that is so difficult, that tournament. But as you turn your attention toward the NCAA tournament, which is, you know, where we're really focusing our attention, you know, Kentucky is built for a run in the NCAA tournament.
Kentucky has played 5 top 5 teams this year. They've played 7 in the top 7. He's battling inside, and she's going to draw the personal. It'll go on Maddie McDaniel, her first.
You think about teams that are really kind of built for tournament time. You know, they're teams that are playing a lot of players that can go deep. You know, you think, again, in the SEC tournament, teams like South Carolina that get that double bye, that have to play fewer games, that understand what it means to be there. They've won it before, they get it.
Another opportunity created. Morgan passed up the 2 to get a better look. Can't convert. Offensive rebound, Key had it blocked. And now Dowda comes up with the rebound.
Morgan landed awkwardly on a knee, ankle, something.
She was surprised she didn't get called for the turnover there on the walk. North Carolina up by 5. Boone tried to draw the offensive foul, no call. Johnson calmly sinks the long two.
That's what South Carolina will do. Johnson with just seeing an opportunity and capitalizing.
Morgan recontrols the basketball. Raven Johnson, one of the best on-ball defenders in the country. Inside for Key. Working on the senior Dowda. Off the glass, no. And Edwards cleans the glass. South Carolina pushing right now, trying to get the lead back to double figures. Johnson with the easy finish. And a timeout coming for Kentucky. They had trimmed the deficit to just 3, but South Carolina on a 7-0 run over the last minute 45, back up by 9. Roster this season for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Gone are players like Malaysia Full-Wiley and Tahina Paupau, Sanaya Fagan, but you bring in Tanaya Latson, who was the leading scorer in the NCAA last year. Medina Okot's been so good early on in this game. Edwards back, Raven Johnson, one of the veterans, and Tessa Johnson, the marksman. And suddenly, if you're Dawn Staley, you just reloaded, and they could very easily find themselves cutting down the nets once again this year.
No question about it, and what you see is from championship basketball is what we've seen in the last little bit from them. A 7-0 run over the last minute 45. They've gone 6 of 6 from their last field goals. This is what championship teams do. Kentucky's gone on a run. They've gotten themselves back into this game, and South Carolina responds. That's exactly what you would expect to see from teams who can play at an elite level, teams who are built, again, to be able to make runs. But what I've been impressed from both sides, that every single time each team's gone on a run, the other team has responded. Coaches making adjustments, figuring some things out, doing some things differently.
That one last touch by South Carolina. It will stay with Kentucky. And to your point, Christy, it really does feel like it has been a game of runs between these two teams today. Right now, South Carolina on a 7-0 run. They lead by 9. Just over 3 minutes to go in this third quarter. Asia Boone's hit a couple of big threes here in this third. Clara Strack spun into a double team. Morgan tried to grab it with one hand. 2 may have been better. It goes out of bounds and back to South Carolina. Dawn Staley's side, 6 for their last 6 from the field. What's led to the good looks, Christy?
Well, I've loved what they're doing just in terms of penetrating and kicking. We've seen them go inside, working on Okot, drive and kick. That then opens things up on the outside. Very smart basketball on the offensive end for South Carolina.
A kick there by Jordan Obi. Possession stays with the Gamecocks. 3 national championships for this South Carolina program. Last in 2024, lost in the final last year to a very good UConn squad, who is the odds-on favorite to cut down the nets once again here in 2026.
Perfect execution from South Carolina.
Morgan high stepping, got to the rim. Carroll punches it out, and possession initially ruled in favor of South Carolina. 2 officials coming together to discuss, and they will change the call yet again.
Look at this inbounds play. South Carolina running this to perfection, and Kaylin Carroll, just a freshman, really making a big-time mistake there on the defensive end. Beautiful execution. That's what you want, to be as efficient as possible, score quickly on out-of-bounds plays, take advantage of what the defense gives you.
Another turnover here by Morgan. That has been a struggle for her lately. Came in averaging close to 6 turnovers in recent play. Has 4 today. South Carolina on a 13-2 run after Kentucky had made this a 3-point game. Edwards trying to add to it. In and out. Kentucky hasn't scored in over 3 minutes. This capacity crowd was into this game earlier. Held silent for the moment. Boone trying to find Strack. She's just being yanked inside, no call. But they reset to Obi. She finds Strack for 2.
Well, it was the right entry pass, no question about it. Asia Boone had her the first time. Clara Strack really working hard. Gonna get a call there eventually on Dowda.
Raven Johnson up and over Tony Morgan.
So tough.
He's got 9.
Just creating, so tough.
South Carolina 7 for their last 8 from the field. Again into Strack, Kentucky goes. Matched up on Edwards. Nowhere to go. Morgan lost the basketball. 3 turnovers in the last couple of possessions for Tony Morgan. And Raven Johnson takes advantage. She's up to 11. And South Carolina has their largest lead of the second half.
Just some uncharacteristic play and mistakes out of Tony Morgan. We've seen her pressing and really trying hard. That's one there when you just really can't get anything to go. She's had 2 layups that are normally shots that'll go.
South Carolina has taken the energy out of this sold-out historic Memorial Coliseum with this big 13-2 run. McDaniel holding for the final shot of the third. Dowda coming with the screen. McDaniel downhill on Strack, all the way to the 10. It won't fall. Everything but the basket. It would not go for McDaniel. South Carolina up by 13.
Johnson doing a great job of just creating on the offensive end. And then here, just so tough defensively, giving them the biggest lead of the second half.
Beautifully renovated historic Memorial Coliseum. First time South Carolina playing in this newly renovated facility that underwent over $70 million worth of renovations 2 seasons ago. Kentucky struggling with turnovers, South Carolina taking advantage. And Christy, in Kentucky's losses this year, turnovers have been a common theme.
Well, they have, and you consider that they've been so costly because some of these have just been unforced turnovers, just silly mistakes that we've seen Kentucky make. And that's led to 16 points for South Carolina. And you're in a real situation here where you've got to spend the next 10 minutes locked in on both ends of the floor because South Carolina is so dangerous on the offensive end, making things happen quickly. You're digging out of a hole here, so you've got to be really efficient on both ends of the floor. It's going to start for Kentucky, too, on the defensive end. They really need to get some fast break points going. They need to get some points in transition, scoring quickly, and allowing themselves to really get set in defense.
South Carolina putting their foot down in that third quarter late after Kentucky had made it a 3-point game. Gamecocks have won 21 out of their last 22 games. Their only loss in that stretch came in overtime to Oklahoma, who currently finds themselves in the top 16 seeds for the NCAA tournament. Dawn Staley telling us earlier today that she's been incredibly proud with how this team has come together throughout the year. All these new pieces, and now looking like a true championship contender as we head into the month of March. Johnson pulling the tray. Hassett has the rebound, but coughs it up. Kentucky just can't get out of their own way as Johnson wedgies it. Okot will clean it up quickly.
Well, that's the kind of thing that'll make you crazy if you're Kenny Brooks. You know, he put his head in his hands after that, just thinking, we've got to be able to come up with balls. We've got to make it happen. But I love the, listen, Amelia Hassett back down the court. Coach gives her a high five and says, let's go, you got this.
Johnson with a wry smile on her face. She doesn't miss many from downtown.
And yeah, that's uncharacteristic, right? You think, no way.
Strack is going to war inside with Okot. They go to her. Kicking it out for Hassett. Just 6 points in the game for Amelia Hassett. Strack looking for 2. Okot keeps it in play.
Okot absolutely affecting that shot. Maybe even gotten a hand on it.
Kentucky shooting just over 30% in this second half. South Carolina has dialed up the defense. This has been a favorable matchup. Johnson on Strack. Now the bounce pass. Edwards off the window. Ocott secures her double-double. Gives up the basketball. Strack has it. It's been a little sloppy for both teams to begin this fourth quarter.
No doubt, yeah. That's Edwards. I'd like to see her be a little more aggressive and take that shot, make that happen.
Boone hits for 2, and that's 1,000 for her career. Came in needing 10. That 2 gives her 11. Asia Boone over the 1,000-point plateau. Spent her first 2 years at Liberty. Has been a huge part of Kentucky's roster in her junior season. They'll have her for at least 1 more year. Johnson downhill on Strack. Obi has it. And if you're Kentucky, you've got to take advantage of this opportunity.
Well, in that situation there, you'd love to see Kentucky be able to score in transition, but you got to credit South Carolina for being able to get back, really heads up, knowing where they need to be defensively.
Boone trying to take over. Might have had that one deflected. South Carolina has numbers. Johnson pitches it corner for Johnson. Too strong. Couple of uncharacteristic shots for Tessa Johnson. Carroll for 3, in and out. Kentucky just can't buy a basket right now in this fourth quarter. Trailing by 11. Needed an upset to further their postseason aspirations, trying to host for the 2nd year in a row. Ocott's roll comes up short.
Well, that doesn't go, but that's a great, I love that action for South Carolina.
In for Strack, and Kentucky's methodically working their way back in within 9.
Again, Claire Strack showing you that she can score a lot of different ways.
Dawn Staley not pleased with her team's start to the fourth quarter. Kentucky has worked their way back within 9 in this top 20 showdown. We're taking a quick breather. Lexington, a 9-point game here in the fourth quarter. These two teams matching up for the 78th time. Kentucky with a lead here in Lexington, but they have lost 5 games in a row. And if you're a Kentucky fan, you'll remember the last win for Kentucky over this South Carolina team. It came in the SEC Championship back in 2022. Kentucky taking down the 1, 2, and 3 seed. Dre Edwards hitting this huge 3 to give Kentucky their 2nd ever SEC Tournament Championship. They win it 64-62 over South Carolina. That was the last time that Kentucky took down the Gamecocks.
Quite a scene for Kentucky as they won that game. As you know, Ryan Howard was everything for Kentucky at that time, and I think a lot of folks thought she'll absolutely have the ball in her hands at that point. South Carolina doing a nice job of making sure that didn't happen. So Dre Edwards, kind of an unlikely hero. She'd had a great season, but really in that moment to take that shot, maybe an unlikely hero that just got it done for Kentucky, and all of Lexington was celebrating with her.
Ocott and Strack have had the ball in their hands a ton. Strack just 2 rebounds off a double-double. Ocott has secured her 7th straight and 20th double-double of the year. Came in inside the top 6 in the country in that department. Kentucky needs stops down the stretch. They're not going to get one there, as Ocott now has 19 on the afternoon.
We've seen the Gamecocks do that this entire game, the entire season. It's that drive and dish, great awareness.
Strack losing Ocott. Those two are dueling right now. Strack has 20. It's her 7th 20-piece of the season. 4th in SEC play. A 9-point game. Latson, offensive foul.
Really smart heads-up defensive play by Asia Boone, just getting herself in great position. They talked about this at their shoot-around today. She makes the jump out. You see Latson push the forearm out. Great job by Asia Boone to play that big-time play that Cats need big, really big.
Strack goes to work again. She's taking over here in the 4th. Kentucky back within 7. It was a 3-point game early on in that 3rd quarter, then a 13-2 run, allowing South Carolina to stretch the lead. The McDaniel working downhill amongst the trees. Okot just went over the top of Strack but couldn't finish. The Wildcats trying to get this capacity crowd back into it. They've been silent for much of the second half. Down low to Strack, back out for Boone. Strack scored the last 4 for Kentucky. This time she's blocked, but they'll call a foul on Okot. That'll be her third.
What we're seeing Clara Strack do is be mobile and making Okot move her feet to guard, and Clara Strack is winning. You see she's put the ball on the floor a couple times, trying to make a move there. If not, taking what the defense gives her. If Okot isn't guarding that, she beats it. Stop, pop the jump shot. Really nice heads up. Really, really big time play here from Clara Strack, knowing what she can do, making adjustments.
Strack coming in, and one of the true unicorns as the officials going to come together and discuss something right here. But Strack, the only player in Division I averaging north of 16 points, 10 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. She averages close to a steal and a half.
I think they're not
Kentucky staff looking at some video over on the sidelines.
I'm not going to allow the substitution. Interesting.
Good catch there, Christy. Veteran officiating crew, Billy Smith, Maggie Tiemann, and Timothy Green for this top 20 matchup as Strack misses them both. McDowell scooped it up. Johnson gonna bring it across the midcourt line. One of the lone holdovers from the early years of this South Carolina dynasty. Okot has it blocked. Kentucky trailing by 7. Strack locates Key off the window. It's a 5-point game here in the fourth quarter.
Kentucky's defense has done a nice job of frustrating Okot on the block. She hasn't been able to get those shots to go. And normally she'd be able to get an offensive rebound, a putback, and that putback is being very well defended.
Kentucky eyeing another defensive stop. Johnson. And they secure the stop. They can make it a 1-possession game here with a 3. Boone's hit 3 of those today. The next 3 would tie her with Ryan Howard for the program's single-season record. They go into Strack, who's been excellent in this second half. Has the mismatch, draws the double. In for Key, working and finishing. 3-point game. And listen to this crowd. A sold-out historic Memorial Coliseum. Big Blue Nation's been waiting to get back into this game. Kentucky finding some open looks and converting, Christy.
Well, Clara Strack just going to work. I thought really great slash by Tiani Key, but in that last bucket, as Clara Strack was driving, I'm stomping my foot for her to hit it out to Amelia Hassett at the top of the key for the 3, but they're just showing some real patience on the offensive end, really working it inside. Tiani Key going to work as well too, but we're seeing them do some very good things on the defensive end. Okot been a little frustrated, not being able to get some of those point-blank range shots to go that we saw South Carolina hit. Now make no mistake, South Carolina calling this timeout to just settle things down, try to get the crowd out of it, come out of this timeout and be very efficient on offense. But Kentucky's going to need to continue this level of play and understand patience is one thing, but playing with a sense of urgency is another. So they've got to be able to put both of those together, marry those two together to get it going on both ends of the floor.
This game's starting to have a very similar feel to the one these two teams played last year. Kentucky got within 1 in the fourth quarter. It was 65-64. And then South Carolina went on a 10-0 run. Johnson out of the timeout, responds, lead back to 5.
Well, that's what South Carolina knows they can do. They've done it in the first half against Kentucky, being able to put the ball on the floor and get to the rim. Just such a big-time move by Johnson, veteran move, really understanding, executing out of the timeout.
Strack and Key have the last 8 for Kentucky, trying to get it into Strack, who has 22. Boone fouled. Nearly lost the basketball, bailed out there on the foul call against Raven Johnson.
And Strack is working so hard. Let's take another look at this, though, where you see she had the screen, catches Kaylin Carroll playing it the other direction. Great job by Johnson getting to the rim.
Johnson with a pair of threes today. She has 12. She was so big in that win against number 6 LSU a couple weeks ago, trying to take her team to the promised land as Strack hits another. She's got 24, a three-point game. Edwards gonna hand it off to Johnson. They wanted her on the roll. Now Raven Johnson matched up on Key. Strack has 3 personals. Kick out, Edwards, 2 on the shot clock. No, and Obi has it. Kentucky can tie with a 3. The Wildcats 6 for their last 6 from the field. They'll call the timeout here. Just over 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Look at Kara Strack.
Yeah, Clara Strack just absolutely taking this game on. We talked about that before tip-off, where big players do big things, and especially this time of year, superstars absolutely do not shy away from these big moments down the stretch against big teams on a big stage. This is what you want. She was feeling it too. As she hit that shot, she turned around and said, come on. She knows what she can do now. She's really settling in.
Strack with 24 today, trying to will Kentucky to an upset win.
And this is just making some adjustments on the offensive end. She had a couple of shots blocked by Okot. This is now just putting Okot on the move, trying to make her mobile and winning as far as that matchup goes there. Just really showing you that she can score in a couple of different ways. A lot of things on her plate, in her arsenal. Clara Strack doing it, getting Kentucky back in this thing.
If Kentucky were to not secure a hosting bid right now on the outside looking in, this would represent the final home game of the year for the Wildcats. Here's Boone for the tie, in and out. And a battle for the basketball. Was there a foul called? Yes, there was. That'll be on Okot. It's her 4th. 4th personal on South Carolina. Kentucky will have the basketball on the baseline.
Dawn Staley is not happy with that at all.
So not only do you keep possession if you're Kentucky, but now Okot has 4 fouls. They struggle to get it in. Joust for the basketball. Strack comes down with it.
This is where you need to settle in, get organized.
Boone running the point. Tony Morgan has been ineffective today. She's on the bench. Boone trying to find Obi. Okot just grabbed it out of thin air. Kentucky's been within 3 on multiple occasions in this second half, but they've not found the magic bullet to tie this game. Johnson has the matchup on Obi. Now McDaniel flanked by Boone. Johnson, no! Kentucky slowing down the pace.
Great look for Johnson, though. That's exactly what they wanted, coming off of that staggered screen. It was a great look, just didn't go.
And a bit surprising here, Kenny Brooks will use his final timeout with 1:10 to go in the 4th quarter. Normally coaches like to keep those to advance the basketball in late game situations, and you can tell Dawn Staley's still hot about that call that went down as the 4th personal for Medina Okot.
She's asking for some explanation. She's pleading her case for her player. She thought the foul should have gone the other way, or at least no call at all. But to your point, Kenny, I think based on what he saw on the last offensive possession, now's the time to get organized, settle down a little bit here, and understand what are we going to do for the next 1:10. Even though you don't have that to be able to use later, but be efficient here, be efficient now. This is such a crucial point in this ball game.
A Kentucky season with many what-ifs. A 2-point loss on the road in Knoxville to Tennessee. They lost by 1 point here at home to then number 7 ranked Vanderbilt. You go on the road to Nashville a couple weeks later, you lose by 2. They were in that game against Texas. If they don't secure a hosting bid, Christy, they have no one to blame other than themselves.
Well, I think they definitely, you know, that's a scenario where coaches are never going to want to do that, to look back and say, what if, but I think there are some of those losses that were left on the table for Kentucky that should have definitely been wins, you know, but I think you take into account that Tiani Key injury and how much that really affected this team in a lot of ways. They don't go very deep. So that really changed who they were in a lot of ways, and they had to become a little different.
Kentucky came into this game trying to change their tournament outlook. They were a 9 seed at the start of the day in the SEC tournament. A win would help their case. Here's Obi spinning into the paint. High off the glass, it almost went, but she will head to the free throw line. That'll be on Raven Johnson, her 3rd. Kentucky in the bonus.
Obi gets the drive here. I almost thought that foul was going to go on Okot. I wasn't sure where they were going with that.
It's one of those situations, Christy, if you're Johnson, you raise your hand and you say, call the foul on me.
That's right, me, that's it, yes, take one for the team in more ways than one, yes.
Obi with her first points in this game since the second quarter. She's been quiet. Taken out of the starting lineup 4 games ago in place of Asia Boone. Will miss it there. Strack's battling, and Clara Strack got called for the foul. Kenny Brooks cannot believe it.
Well, and I think that's a call that Dawn Staley was lobbying for in those last couple of timeouts.
They were going for this basketball.
She was lobbying for that exact call that she didn't get the other way. Yeah.
It's been a physical game. That one goes against Kentucky. A 2-point game. And Big Blue Nation, who sold out historic Memorial Coliseum today, is on their feet. South Carolina's won 9 straight, 21 out of their last 22. Johnson, short. Kentucky has not led since the 5:11 mark in the first quarter. They can take the lead with a 3. Boone has 3 of those 3s to her name. Couldn't get it into Strack. Under 10 on the shot clock. Key driving off the glass, no good. Strack goes to the deck. And a jump ball tie-up. It'll be possession arrow South Carolina with 6.6 to go.
Listen, I disagree with that. There's no way that's a jump ball. That ball wasn't even tied up long enough. Doesn't go there for Tiani Key. You got Asia Boone wide open on the other side, but she wasn't able to see her. But I don't see the jump ball there. I absolutely don't see.
And if you're Kentucky, only 1 foul in this 4th quarter. And so you're not anywhere close to putting South Carolina in the bonus. And Kenny Brooks is red hot. Out talking to this officiating crew. He cannot believe the jump ball call.
Well, I think he said that she can't, he was arguing about her calling timeout at that point. I'm not exactly sure.
And the reason why was at that point Kentucky Kentucky was out of timeout. South Carolina just used their last. Let's take a look at this call from a moment ago.
So there's a scramble here. Just no way that's a jump ball. They got that one wrong. You know, I think that's a situation that ball does not get tied up. As she's swiping it through, that does not get tied up for any period of time for that to be a jump ball. That was a quick whistle and a quick call for a jump ball.
But regardless of that call, it did appear it would have stayed South Carolina basketball, so it might not have changed much. But Christy, now if you're Kentucky, this is a challenging spot because you still have quite a few fouls to give here with just 6.6 to go, and you don't have a timeout to advance the basketball after those free throws.
You have to give that timeout before any time goes off the clock, so you're really trying to get the officials, you're almost asking for them to pay attention, to watch that you're going to try to foul. You understand we're trying to foul as quickly as we possibly can. they need to make that call, blow that whistle as quickly as possible.
South Carolina trying to hang on and avoid the upset. Kentucky needed this game to reset their postseason aspirations. Where they lost, there was still a way that they could secure a single bye. A win would have really helped. Into Johnson, a quick foul. A full second went off the clock. That'll be just the second foul on Kentucky. They have to repeat that 3 times.
Well, they have to. It has to be quicker than where they were. I mean, it has to be a much quicker. Yeah.
And another full second goes off. South Carolina was in the spread formation.
Hassett, her first and the team third.
So even if you're able to get South Carolina to the game with about a second going off each time, you won't have much to work with.
Yeah, this is where.
And Kentucky's 2 players collide. Ocott off the glass to seal things here in Lexington. South Carolina survives on the road. They've won 10 straight, 22 out of their last 23. And the next time you'll see Dawn Staley's Gamecocks will be as the #1 overall seed at the SEC tournament this week in Greenville.
Well, I think for South Carolina, they are so happy to get out of Lexington with a win, regardless of how many points it was. They did not want a letdown as they head into next week in the SEC tournament. But I think there are a lot of ways for Kentucky here that you're going to look back on this one and say, my goodness, some things were questionable, but you have to credit each team. There were runs that happened here, and each team was able to sustain those runs and battle back. So good things to take. If you're Kentucky, good things to take if you're South Carolina.
Another close loss to a ranked opponent, Tennessee, Vandy twice, and now South Carolina. Kentucky finishes the SEC regular season 8-8. South Carolina now 29-2 on the season, and their march towards a 4th national championship still very much intact. A great game today here in Lexington. It's South Carolina by 4 over the hometown Wildcats. So for Christy Thomas, our producer Daniel Gibbons, the rest of our crew, I'm Noah Prairie saying so long from the Bluegrass State.